I want to go out front now to Democratic Senator Chris Coons. So, Senator Coons, do you share some of your fellow Democrats' frustrations with Senator Manchin tonight?
Well, certainly, Erin, I share a sense of frustration that we are nearing the end of this year and we don't yet have a clear path towards enactment of the Build Back Better bill. But let me be clear about what's in President Biden's statement tonight and what I believe, having spoken to Senator Manchin just a few moments ago, as well as over recent days. Senator Manchin has reconfirmed to President Biden his willingness to pass a bill that is at the same scale as the framework they agreed on months ago. That's roughly $1.75 trillion over a number of years. That is a significant piece of legislation, Erin. And if we can come to final agreement on the details in a bill that provides universal pre-K, significant support for daycare, more than $500 billion in investments around climate change, that is a significant piece of legislation. And in this past year, between the American Rescue Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, we've already accomplished a lot of President Biden's legislative agenda. So while frustrated tonight, I remain optimistic that we will get this done.
Now, when you listed things there, you did not include the child tax credit. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, Senator, but I mentioned that only in the context of, yes, $1.75 trillion is a massive piece of legislation. You're correct. But if you're going to do it in the way Manchin insists it is, and you're going to put in universal pre-K and daycare and $500 billion in climate change, and you're going to do it over 10 years because that's what you intend to do, you're going to have to give a lot of stuff up that's in there right now. You just are.
Well, I'll disagree. There was a framework agreement we reached months ago, and rather than focusing on what we're giving up, I want to help us focus on what we're delivering for the American people. Because frankly, there's a prescription drug chapter to this that would reduce those costs. There is a passage in here, a section that would reduce the cost of daycare and elder care. Those make a difference in the lives of working families. Yes, there are some details we still have to resolve. There may still be weeks left of final negotiating before we get this to the floor.
But are you willing to put those in for 10 years and put your pay-fors in for 10 years? I mean, are you willing to do what Senator Manchin is now saying? And I understand he hadn't said this before, my understanding is, but this is a dramatic change. Like, none of this stuff is in here for 10 years. Child tax credits for 1 year, some of this stuff's for 5, some of it's for 6. None of it's in there for 10. And many in your party have been very open about the fact that they intend them to be permanent.
Well, Erin, the point is, if they're in the bill and they expire after several years, that means we'd have to take legislative action. There may be members of my caucus who intend them to be permanent, but this is a part of the back and forth with Senator Manchin. We would have to take legislative action in the future to extend them. It doesn't happen automatically. So I think we ought to focus on the policies that we all agree on, work out some of these differences, which I view as minor in the scope of a significant piece of legislation, and get to the floor. Look, earlier tonight on the floor of the Senate, I got to pass a piece of legislation that Senator Murkowski and I have worked on for years that will make a real difference to Americans who are living with ALS. It'll give them hope, it'll give them access to medication, it'll give them access to experimental treatments. We are still getting things done here. I recognize that it is easier to focus on the negatives about Senator Manchin's comments today, but there are positives. We are getting things done in the Senate, and I remain optimistic, as does President Biden, that in the end, we will get this done.
Before we go, you're on the Foreign Relations Committee. Senior Ukrainian official, I'm sure you saw on Sky News overnight, said yes when she was asked if a Russian invasion of Ukraine would lead to a third world war. Do you agree?
Well, I am very concerned that Vladimir Putin is massing hundreds of thousands of troops right on the border with Ukraine. President Biden has made it clear that we will stand with our other European allies and do everything we can to defend Ukrainian sovereignty. I think making it clear that we intend to impose punishing sanctions, unprecedented sanctions on Russia, should they act further in the coming weeks, is a strong deterrent. And I think we have to proceed here deliberately, carefully, in a bipartisan way, to send a firm signal to Vladimir Putin that the West will oppose any further aggressive actions against Ukraine.
All right. Obviously, so much more to that conversation, but I appreciate your time tonight. Senator, thank you.
Thank you, Erin.